What's up, Totem Pole Nation? Welcome back to Lambo and Matt's World of Sports. Shifting over to March Madness in this video, Kentucky has lost in the opening weekend for the third consecutive season. A lot of Kentucky fans are now calling for his job. We'll get into what that would look like for Kentucky moving forward if they wanted to do that, how much they're going to have to pay him in a buyout if they want to do that, and, if this is really on him to blame, or if there's some, other factors as well. Upsets happen all the time. They just happen to be at the center of the most recent ones. All right, so we'll give our opinions. We'll give what it would actually look like for Kentucky. Before we do that, shout out to Sideline Sports Network. Visit TotempoleNation.com if you want some gear to support the boys. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Let's get into this episode right now.
All right, well, Kentucky has been very disappointing, obviously. Was I surprised that they lost to Oakland? Yeah. Early first round, no defense. I mentioned they don't have a defense. Should Kentucky fire Calipari? No. Why would you fire Calipari? Now I understand that John Calipari is known for changing programs, right? He coached at UMass, spent some time in the NBA, coached at Memphis, coach at Kentucky. So I understand it. Look at the success he had at UMass, 189 and 70 when he coached from 1988 to 1996. He coached at Memphis. Of course, Derrick Rose played for Memphis Tigers, obviously, from 2000 to 2009. His record was 214 and 68, right? Kentucky, ever since he's been there in 2009, his record in multiple seasons is 410 and 122. And he's only missed the tournament one time due to COVID. That's when all the teams missed, like Duke, UNC, and Kentucky. All didn't make the tournament during COVID. I mean, what? Okay, 9 and 16. Okay, I understand that they lost in the round of 64, the round of 32 in the past 3 years. But the years before that, they lost in Elite 8 or the Sweet 16. It's hard to win a championship every single year. In college basketball, why you think it's a different champion each and every year? Why you think there's upsets? It makes the sport interesting. Now, I know Kentucky is the face of everything because they have the number 1 or number 2 recruiting class of all time. This is different. Here's why I'm going to tell you it's different. All of this isn't on Calipari. Some of it is on his assistants, right? It's all about you can have a great head coach, but you got to have great assistants around you. Now, 2 of the assistants, it's probably somebody y'all never know or that you'll never do your research on because all you Kentucky spoiled fans want to do is blame Calipari because they lost to Oakland. Oakland's a great team. There's teams that are great that we don't find out until you play them. All right. One of the great assistants that just got fired from Louisville is the head coach, Kenny Payne. Kenny Payne, great assistant. Obviously, they hired some guys. Obviously, this is not the same Kentucky team that they had DeMarcus Ware, John Wall, Anthony Davis. This is not the same team. I'm not going back to the 2012 team like it's going to be a miracle again. All right. I know the last time they didn't make the Final Four was 2014 when they lost to UConn. UConn was crap for about the last 5 years until the last 2 years are now relevant again. Right. All right. This is a tough pill to swallow. Kenny Payne, great assistant, obviously. PJ Washington, Kevin Knox. Those guys, Tyler Hero, all right, NBA guys. Joel Justice, all right. Look what NC State is doing. Joel Justice knows. He took some of that Kentucky formula and brought it to NC State. NC State is still in the tournament. Now, the reason why I bring up Joel Justice as a former assistant is because look at his all-time recruits. His all-time recruits before leaving Kentucky, Keldon Johnson out of Oak Hill Academy, Keldon Johnson in NBA, Emmanuel Quickly, Johnny Juzang before he transferred to UCLA, Bryce Hopkins, Devin Askew, and Brandon Boston Jr. Those are one of his top all-time recruits, right? They still get top recruits, but they don't have those guys. And I agree with what Jay Wright saying, the former Villanova coach who's won a championship. It's hard to win a championship with freshmen on the court, right? You got to have those experienced guys. You got to be the UNCs, right? those guys like Armando Baycott, they've been there for 5-6 years, and you're building chemistry. That's the problem with Kentucky. It's the chemistry. Kentucky has never had a stable roster where they're able to build a team for 3 to 4 years and say, we're going to win a championship. Devin Booker was one and done. Tyler Hero was one and done. P.J. Washington was 2 years. And there's been multiple players in Kentucky that have been one and done. Now, Kentucky is not the only school that does this. There have been some Duke guys like Jason Tatum that stayed 1 or 2 years as well. My point to this is with all those freshmen, right, they have to learn how to play. They have to learn what mistakes comes along those lines. We're not expecting them to be perfect off the bat. They're freshmen. They can't be perfect. This is not an experienced Kentucky team and never has. I understand they have some guys that are graduates. They got some transfers. But if I'm Kentucky, you're still the top 2 recruiting class the last time I checked. You got 6 commits. You need to enter hard to the transfer portal, John Calipari. Enter hard into the transfer portal. The transfer portal will help you. You got some key guys in the transfer portal, but you need more. If you're going to win a championship, focus on the transfer portal. You can give them the NIL deals. The money's not the problem. You got to go to the transfer portal more. You can get all these freshmen all you want. Now, some of these freshmen haven't been one and done as of lately, but at the end of the day, you got to build your team around older guys, older veteran guys who've been there before. It's not really much. If John Calipari gets fired, do y'all want to pay the man $34 million and then you gave him another contract? He's a lifetime contract in Kentucky. Do you want to fire the man? Who other coach are you going to have, right? Who are you going to have? Y'all are just spoiled. It's what Nick Saban has told y'all, that rat poison. They expect us to, when you win, it's not good enough, right? It's hard to win a championship each and every year. I understand Kentucky hasn't won one since 2012. I understand they had been one since 2014. But just go to the transfer portal and build veteran players. You'll be fine.
All right. So with all due respect to John Calipari, top 10 in wins of all time of D1 coaches. And that's awesome. Kentucky is a blue blood school. And I think that got him after, because, he got ran out of the NBA. I think landing the job after Memphis to Kentucky gave him, like, he's a good coach. I'm not saying he's not. But I think it gave him a little bit more clout than maybe was warranted. Now, he took Memphis to a title game, but I think Derrick Rose took Memphis to a title game. It's a little bit different when you've got the best players on the court all the time, but that's his draw. He always has a top 5 recruiting class. And when you look at what he's done seeding-wise, typically, except for, 2014 was a weird one, and 2018 and 23, where they were 6, 5, and then 8. Besides that, they're top 5, top 3 mostly every year when it comes to seeding. So no one's questioning regular season success. We all know it, right? But Kentucky's a blue blood, but if we judge them off of what he's done there, they were a flash in the pan that still can recruit well, but they can't finish it ever. Ever. I mean, when I was growing up watching UNC all the time, I was scared to play Kentucky because I knew that both schools are really good. Both schools are going to be competing for that same title, and it's going to be a great matchup. You get a little bit scared about playing a great team like that because they always have NBA guys. Why can your coach – it's the same thing people shit on Coach K for about that season with Zion, RJ, and Cam. How could you not have won a championship with that crew? And the thing that's on Calipari's resume is that he's got like 4 teams like that where you're like, how did he not win a championship with that squad? It's the sad thing of the matter. He's a Hall of Fame coach. He's one of the greatest to ever do it at the collegiate level, no doubt. But like that one title, which granted, one title is still a very difficult thing to do, like you mentioned. I get that. But that one title from 12 years ago is still kind of, keeping him around now. I get it. He's got a lifetime contract. But for one title, yeah, he wins games. But I thought we're trying to hang banners. This is Kentucky. This is one of the most championships besides like UCLA in Division I basketball. So like, what's the standard? This is similar to the Steelers thing with Mike Tomlin. I thought this was the Steelers. I thought we were winning Super Bowls. You know? So I can draw similarities there. I think it's a pretty similar situation. You're always ready for Kentucky to bring out guys on the court that are, like I said, a top 5 recruiting class. No one's questioning that. It's just he can't finish with it. And it's now been 12 years since he's really done anything with these really good recruiting classes. So I'm not saying fire him, because I'm pretty sure the buyout would be $34 million, which would be a record for D1 basketball. 34 mil, or no, basically 35 if he is fired. I mean, the St. Peter's loss, Kansas State last year, and now Oakland this year. I don't
blame him for the Kansas State one. Kansas State was always a competitive team in the Big 12. Kansas State, but maybe Oakland.
They're not on
St. Peter's.
They're not on Kentucky's level, though. I get it.
It's not
as bad. It's not as bad. I agree. It's not as bad as Oakland. It's not as bad as St. Peter's. But it's a team that they should have beat, and they didn't in the second round.
Well, that's why Kansas State's an NIT, but that's a different subject for a different day.
They still lost last year. That's not the point. The point is that the guy who's one of the best of all time hasn't done shit in 12 years, but he's such a people can tell that he's a good coach, and he's really good at recruiting, probably the best recruiter that's left in basketball at this point after the retirements that we've seen. It's just something's got to happen, man. 12 years is an insane amount of time for one of the GOATs with the best rosters every year.
It's a different era now. We're never.
This era should play to their advantage. This is Kentucky. This is blue blood. This is where you want to go to do shit in college basketball. It's them. It's Duke. It's UNC, and it's Kansas. Those are and UCLA. Those are the 5 true blue bloods. And, we've seen what UNC's done in the transfer portal. If we go back to just 2 years ago, Brady Manick, Big Ginger, this year with Ryan Cormack, put up 31 against Duke and helped them in that game against Michigan State on Saturday. Transfer portal has been used by other blue bloods. This should help Kentucky.
We'll see. I wish I made the decisions, but I don't. They paying that man a lifetime contract, plus he got another extension anyway. So that's on them. I don't know. He'll never be fired. I mean, it's hard to fire a guy like that, because then it's just a purpose firing. So I want to thank the Kentucky AD, whoever's behind this, and not firing Calipari. But Calipari, we do got to get some stuff done. We do got to make it farther than the damn second round. Let's make it. If they lost in the Sweet 16, nobody really would be talking about it this deep. They lost in the Sweet 16. There's plenty of good teams in the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8, but I don't know. Get some veterans. I'm not worried about freshmen. Get some veterans. Reed Shepherd might go to the NBA. Rob Dillingham is great. He might go to the NBA too. So we'll see. If not, build that team around Reed Shepherd and Rob Dillingham. You already got a great bench. You just have freshmen that make freshman mistakes. And you had a chance to beat Oakland, but you didn't make any defensive adjustments. This is the worst defensive team that Kentucky's ever had. John Calipari is a defensive coach. And
not this year, brother.
I understand that they scored 100 points in 6 games. They set records on offense, but Lord, that defense did not look good. And you let that kid sign an NIL deal after they beat us. All of a sudden, he's famous. We made that guy famous. 30 points. He shot 23s.
He made himself famous because he kicked y'all's ass.
We shouldn't have let that happen. But congratulations to him.
I agree.
for getting the
He was
NIL
making.
deal.
You can't even be mad though. He was making the most contested shots. JF, what's going on, brother? Bruv, what's that? British? Is that
Yeah, England.
bruv? English?
Yeah, England.
What's going
like
on, dude?
UK. But yeah, I don't know. I hope Kentucky can do things better than expected. But we will figure that out, and we will see you later. I don't know. I'm on it next year. Go UConn.
All right, everyone. We'll catch you soon on the next episode. We're staying within college basketball. So on the YouTube channel or on Twitter or on Facebook or on Twitch, it'll pop back up. Just click over there. Next time. Peace.